Go to the folder called Unpivot. Let's go to folder Unpivot. Select the folder Unpivot. Unpivot only has 3 files. So these are CSV, not Excel. CSV file. Let me open one of them and show you how the data looks like. So this is the team score version 1. Sometimes the data we export from the system, it may look something like this one. And certain number on the top and certainly on the left and whatever numbers in between them. Very common, right? So I want to break it into 3 columns. First column has a name. The column is the score. So 3 columns. Whenever everything is vertical, we can use pivot table to summarize a number easily. And just observe the year over here is start from 2030, 2031, 2032. There are 3 things we want to do is we want to make sure everything we are able to do is repeatable, scalable, and maintainable. So this one is more on the scalable part of it. You can see the year 2030 until 32. So this version 1. Let me close this one. Okay. I go to version 2 data. Version 2 data, you will notice it has additional year. Additional. Were this able to handle? And this is a CSV file. So this is year 2030 until 35. So this is version 2 data. And version 3 data will be slightly different. Version 1 and version 2 is start from year 2030. And from version 3, the data starts from 35. Because we want to make sure this is able to reuse it over and over again. How can we do some adjustment to make sure it's able to work for all versions? So that means you can use one query, as long as the data source doesn't change, you can use for 10 years or more. So that's the whole intention. So we are, okay, let me close my previous file. I don't want to confuse myself. Open a brand new Excel. The reason I want to ask you to open a brand new Excel file, because the CSV is outside of the data. We cannot do everything inside CSV. Okay, then we go to data. Now I'm inside a blank Excel file. Go to data. On the left side, you will see there's an option or there's a button called From Text CSV. Choose From Text CSV. Then you ask us, where is my file? Go to Unpivot and choose Team Score version 1. Team Score version 1. When you open, because this is a CSV file, it will show us how the data looks like without asking us which worksheet you want to choose. Your CSV file doesn't have any worksheet. You can see, okay, there's a name, year, the year it becomes column 1, column 2, column 3. It doesn't recognize the first row as a header. A moment later, we will do some adjustment. If I want to do any adjustment on the data, click on the transform. It will bring us to Power Query Editor. Because Power Query is rather sensitive on the data type, over this exercise, we will learn how the data type and also the header influence the whole process. And we want to use first row as the header. And you'll notice by default, the setting Power Query will automatically detect based on the type. If let's say we want to make the thing much more concise, the change type usually is the last step. Usually. Because in between we will transform the data here and there. Only towards the end, everything is confirmed. We only change the data type scalicus. So now we want to remove the change type. Just remove it, the last one. And then we want to use first row as header. Use first row as header. When you use first row as a header, do you notice there's something called change type? Remove the change type. Because the change type you will log based on the header name. Our data may change from year to different year. So the year may not be always the same. So we remove the last one. And then the column name is the one we want to maintain as vertical. So we select the column and we right click on the name and go down. You will see there's an option says Unpivot other columns. When you click on this one and everything will turn to vertical, 3 columns like this. Instead of setting attribute, this should be year. We can double click and type year. The value, instead of call value, this is score. This is score. Before we continue, we want to make sure the data type is correct. Anything should I change it here? The score ABC. Let's make the mistake together. Pretend I did not aware this thing exists. I did not aware. Let's see what is the consequences. Let's see. And I want to bring this data back to Excel. We go to Home, Close and Load. Close and Load. Bring back to Excel. If I want to get the total from here, let's do a sum. Let's do a simple sum. Equal SUM, tab key, and select the entire column. When I press enter, what is the answer? Press enter. 0. How come? Because these are text. Even though it's understandable by human, computer cannot understand. So now we want to go back and start doing adjustment to make sure it is a correct data type. Let's go back to Power Query. Yeah, now we are going to change the score to whole number. We just change the score to whole number. And then I can just bring the result back to Excel by click, close and load. I just change the score, click on ABC. Just now it was ABC, change it to whole number. And then you can close and load, bring the result back to Excel. And let's wait for a while. Let's observe the formula just now. Yeah, got it. So this small thing, a lot of time people upset of this kind of small thing because in Excel it's just okay. Over here it doesn't. So this is the version 1 to version 2 and see whether does it work. So what is the file type we are using now? CSV or Excel file? CSV, yes. CSV file, the behavior is slightly different. Because whenever we import, it will fix number of columns. If I import only 4 columns, it will resume the next update also 4 columns. So therefore, additional data at the back, it doesn't realize. We need to do small adjustment to make it work again. So now I want to redo something similar like what you have done. I want to go back to Power Query. And I want to change the version 1 to version 2. So let me load the data and double click on the source because I want to change the version 1 to version 2. So version 1 to version 2. Before I click OK, it has 1, 2, 3, 4. When I press enter, okay, only 4 columns. While the source is selected, go to the formula bar, expand it, and you will see it has one section. It says column equal to 4. So it's fixed only 4 columns. So what we need to do, we remove columns equal to 4 with a comma. Remove that and press enter. You were able to see more data in version 2. Then after that, you continue, everything should work perfectly. So I just need to remove this whole bunch. I need to remove this one. Remove and press enter. Immediately, I'm able to see more data. It's a good practice as well. After I change certain source, I just click step by step from the top to bottom, just to make sure every step it works in accordance our expectation. Once I'm done, I can click close and load, bring the whole data back to Excel, and you'll notice there's more data now. I load for a while. So now it's your turn to change the version 2 to version 3. If everything works perfectly as per just now, you should be able to change version 3 and everything should work. It has more data. And it has a different years of data. This is how we're able to work with the CSV. It's also a very common challenges when the column changes. And the things we have done a bit differently, we remove the change time. We only make sure it changes the time at the very end. If the change type we did not do it correctly, we cannot do the calculation like this one, the score. So this is about CSV file.